sometimes we can listen to I know.
Hi, welcome to this week's Ghost Talk. I'm Harold St. John to the Ohio Ghost Hunters Society. Our co-host tonight is Rebecca McClellan, our case manager, and our special guests tonight are Don and Kelly from Fringe Paranormal. Welcome aboard, guys. Welcome to Ghost Talk. How are you?
Thanks, we're good.
I want to take a second to thank Don and Kelly for coming up. Kelly had a long ride in from Sandusky, and we all know how busy Don has been with the Haunted Main Street School. So I appreciate the time that you've taken to come out and sit with us. I think tonight's going to be a really cool show. Becky and I were talking on all the Ghost Talks, and I was just telling you about this. Starting next week, we're going to move Ghost Talk up to a studio that we're going to put together to make things a little bit easier. As we're cramping in, you can see it now, just how unprofessional we really are. For the paranormal world, I want to take a minute. Anybody that's involved in the paranormal, UFOs, Bigfoot or anything, they obviously know who Art Bell is. Art Bell, at 72-year-old, passed away this past week, and he was a host of a radio show, Coast to Coast, that was big. And me growing up, I can remember late at night when I was on my way home from this place or another, I always managed to tune into Coast to Coast, and I absolutely, Art Bell was very dear to me and helped me find some answers for a lot of paranormal questions. So I wanted to give a shout out to Art Bell's family. You're in our prayers, and I hope things get better for the family. But anyways, what a huge loss for the paranormal community. That being said, on a much lighter note, Becky's got a bunch of questions asked too. Here's the funny thing: we were sitting down this afternoon. Well, what do we want to talk about? Usually we talk about poltergeist or black-eyed children or something. What a nice treat it is. We had Chad and Heather from Erie Shores Paranormal come on a couple of weeks ago to talk about the yacht club, and kind of a light bulb went on. That was so pleasant to have another paranormal group here just chit-chatting about things going on in the paranormal community. And you and I have talked a lot in the last 6 months or so about the Ghost Hunting 101 class and the field trip, and you had said that you would open up your doors to the class and work with them, and I think that's awesome.
Yes.
So we went down on a Sunday. You invited me and the group in on a Sunday. We went down, and you really let us get away with murder. We traipsed around for about an hour taking pictures and videos, and we had a great time. And when we left there, I told Becky, we have to get a field trip down here. This building is awesome. But I also thought that you were crazy, as much work as you put into it. So anyways, welcome aboard. And it's nice that we're going to spend the hour talking about the Haunted Main Street School. Becky, you got a bunch of questions. I know you do.
Oh, we actually, we wrote down questions this week for the first time. So this is kind of weird, and it maybe even just mess us up. I guess I wanted to know when did Fringe Paranormal start, and how did you guys end up together?
Well, Fringe Paranormal began in 2009. Previous to that, Kelly and I had started our investigating in 2007 with another group.
Oh, okay.
At a certain point, that group disbanded, and Kelly and I decided that we got to keep doing this. So we got the rest of our teammates together and kept doing it.
I was going to say, I think we both kind of thought about going our own ways, and then we just really liked the people that were in our group with us, so we decided to kind of stick together.
And for the record, I thought they were married. I thought they were a couple. That's how close they really are. I mean, isn't it kind of neat? Our case manager and I are life partners. I just assumed you guys were all the great things you're doing.
Well, one at a time. I'm wondering, how did you develop this interest in the paranormal? I mean, what made you join the first group?
I'll go first. I wish I could say I lived in a haunted house, because you see a lot of people that, I lived in a haunted house, or I had this experience with that experience. I didn't really have that. I just always had love of the paranormal, read a lot of the books, all the Shining, all the Stephen King stuff.
Oh, yeah,
and just loved it. And I have no problem saying that when Ghost Hunters came out, in whatever that was, 2007, somewhere around there, the original Ghost Hunters, where they went into a place and they used their scientific equipment, and were kind of like, well, if we can't find another explanation, maybe it's paranormal. And I just fell in love with that.
Yeah.
So
we did too.
Yeah, and I think that's what got us into the whole group thing. At least that's what's happened for me. So,
well, for me, I know when we do our presentations, people expect some type of a exciting story from me about how I got started. But it's actually pretty boring. I was just sitting at home one night, going on Craigslist and here's an ad, hey, we need people for our group. So I thought, why not? I got nothing better to do. I always had an interest in it. Why not give it a shot and find out for myself what's going on?
You never had any interest in the paranormal? Well, you had that.
Oh, yeah, I did.
But you weren't involved in the paranormal?
No, I just watched the things on TV, read the books, then I saw this ad on Craigslist, and I thought, well, I always hear the stories. Why listen to stories from other people when you can find out for yourself what's going on?
Yeah.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah.
See, and I have the old patented story. I grew up in a haunted house.
I didn't.
I didn't either.
I never had paranormal experience.
Kind of like that. Well, here's the other thing. Becky had said earlier when we were talking, and looking at all these other groups now, and you had mentioned Ghost Hunters, and I noticed on Ghost Hunters they had Donna in their group right off the bat. It was a female. And you had mentioned, what did you say to me about that?
I was saying that how cool it is that there are so many women in the paranormal groups. You have the male and the female have different perspectives on everything, and they approach things differently. And I'm glad it's not a boys club or a girls club. It's just something everybody can do together, and there's really no, you know what I mean?
I know,
no
I was gonna
kind of
say,
discrimination
On
when
TV,
you're doing
it seems
this.
like more of a boys' club, but I
Yeah,
feel like out in the
kinda
real
does.
world, it
No,
seems like
it
we've
doesn't.
got more girls than guys really on our
Right,
team.
right.
Yeah.
From way back when Maureen Warren used to do it. Back then the whole paranormal investigating was like pretty obscure. You know what I mean? But now that it's gaining popularity, everybody likes it. Everybody does it. And everybody does it together. There are a lot of women starting their own groups. You know what I mean? And a lot of women leading groups, and a lot of big groups like Erie Shores Paranormal that has Jed and Heather. They have a ton of women in their group, and it's just fun to see.
Isn't it funny? The other thing is when you're talking about some of these paranormal groups like Fringe Paranormal or Erie Shores, I call them Chad Heather, Don and Kelly. I don't even say Fringe Paranormal. I have to remind myself that that's who you're with and where you started. So, and it is kind of cool. So listen, I know everybody's tuned in tonight because we got to get to the nuts and bolts of this. We got to talk about the school. And I talked to you briefly about this, but I want you to share with everybody tonight, how in the hell did the Haunted Main Street School come about would be my first question. I don't want to get hold of myself. But when I was down there, I looked at you and I said, Don, you're crazy. And every weekend when I talk to you, you're down working at the school. And how much work that you've got invested in, I'm sure Kelly does as well. How did it come about? I mean, how does that happen?
Okay, well, first of all, we're not crazy, we're eccentric.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah. So as far as the South Main School, it didn't happen overnight. It was a long negotiation with the building owner. I'd say over
And let's
a
say
year.
first we investigated
We'll
there.
go back.
Yeah.
Were you driving by and went, there it is? Kind of like in that Christmas show, Miracle on 30.
Yeah.
When they saw the house at the museum. Were you driving down Main Street and said, there's the building. Let's see what, give me the bottom facts of this.
Not exactly. I had heard of it before because I went to Bowling Green University and I had heard about it from people there. And then we just happened to look in that a woman that used to be in our group was dating a guy that had one of the places there. He rented it out as a dojo because it became a common space after it was the school and people would rent out buildings. So she got us access into there to do an investigation. So that was the very first time we were there, and we just loved the place. How many times we probably investigated there?
5 or 6.
5 or 6 times over the years.
First time was what, 2010?
Something like that.
So then, okay, so now you're investigating. Did you guys document anything during those days? So you actually witnessed some activity. That still doesn't tell me how did it fall into your hands?
Well, okay, you fast forward a few years, the common space for the arts that was in the school shut down, building was vacant. We did our research, due diligence. We came up with the name of the owner, contacted him. Long story short, we now have access to the building. Well, actually, what preceded that, let me go back a little bit of ways. Kelly and I would always drive by the building,
all
take a
the
look
time.
at it, see what's going on. One day
It would
we
be
go
so
by,
sad when it was just sitting there empty,
just sitting-
nothing
just
there.
like
It's like, we
desolate.
love this place.
One day we drive by and we happen to see that one of the doors is open. So we look inside, it looked like somebody.
Don't tell me you trespass.
Oh, no.
We're not going to go there at all.
The door was open, it looked like somebody had broken in and taken a
Oh, I
walk through. So we went inside to see, hey, what did they do?
Absolutely.
What's wrong? So we closed the doors. I contacted the owner, we talked for a bit, and we came to an agreement where we get to be in charge of the school, renovating it, restoring it, and whatever else is entailed with that.
That's a lot of work.
Yeah.
I mean, everybody out there's got to know that that's pretty much where you're at every weekend. I mean, every time I talk to you,
Yeah.
or if I send you a text, say what's going on, well, I'm down at school.
We're there on Sundays, right?
So, on top of, the investigations, I mean, you got hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of hours of work with your sleeves rolled up, just
Right.
making the building safe
Mhm.
and to accommodate, the groups that are coming in for the, so I went down, I looked at the school. What year was the school built?
The school was built in 1890.
Wow.
Wow.
So it's over, right now it's about 128 years old.
Wow, that is a really historical building.
And I think it's one of the oldest standing schools in Bowling Green right now, if I'm not mistaken.
I would have to say it is.
Yeah.
So now you take over custodial rights of the building, so to speak, and you and Kelly have your plan in place now, which in your mind's eye, anyways, what you want to do. And now you walk in and you're looking at the plumbing and the wiring, the heating and the cooling and the safety of the building.
Right.
When you walk in, what happens then? I mean, I know you're working on it, but tell everybody what did it take for you to get this building safe enough to bring groups in like us and host a ghost hunt?
The very first thing we did, take a broom and just sweep the whole place down. You don't know how big a place is until you take a broom and sweep the floors. Let me tell you.
It is big.
Yeah, it's 28,000 square feet building. The gym included is also 3,000. So you're talking about maybe 35,000 square feet of a building.
Wow, that's huge.
Yeah,
I see. It didn't seem that big until Becky and I had walked in, and then I was trying to take as many pictures as I could and document the moment. And I kept losing Becky and Uncle Jeff, I think, in the building. I kept saying, "Where are you guys at? You guys are leaving me
There was just
behind."
so much to see. It really, Harold talks about, to get it safe, but the building is in remarkably good condition, I thought. And it still retains a lot of that original look. I'm sure there have been quite a few changes over the years, but I mean, you can see it. You know what I mean? And in the big tall ceilings and the big doors, and I really, the way it's laid out is really quirky, and there's like all these little areas and nooks and crannies. And
What's the
I was going to
future?
say the other big thing that we did was all the mildew. There was mildew
I never
all
thought of that.
up and down the walls, and we had
That's
a
scary.
lot
That's
of
scary all by itself.
bleach and everything else getting mildew off of walls, especially down in the basement and walking up to the first floor.
So now you're up and running. The building is safe. We don't have to worry about it looking scary because it's scarier than hell.
Kind of is.
And you guys have investigated the building previously on 6 or 7 occasions, and now you got people coming in the building. You can read your notes, but you had a couple of questions. Tell us what's going. What was our next question, Becky? You want to know you want to know about the ghost, the audience.
Yeah. What kind of activity you're getting? Is it residual? Is it intelligent? Do you have an idea what the source of the activity is?
I tend to think it's mostly intelligent. That's my opinion. But it seems like every time we do an investigation, there's different activity occurring. There seems to be a theme during each investigation. Like, for example, during our last few investigations, it's been shadow people,
Really?
shadow figures. And I know Kelly had an experience just recently with a shadow figure.
Yeah, I know.
Tell us a scary. I want to hear a scary story.
All right. Well, I actually have never experienced anything like this before, so it was weird for me, and it's probably the saddest. It's like not exciting at all, but we usually put all of our equipment up on this first floor room, and it was really, really cold. Don was putting together a propane heater, so we would have it up in that little area just to keep one little area warm. While he was putting it together, I went downstairs out to my car to get some stuff. When you come into the building, the gym is right across from you. You turn to the right, you can either go down to the basement or up to that first floor. And I looked down the basement, I saw a shadow down there, but it was dusk, and I didn't really think it, and I thought it was Don. I mean, it was the same kind of build and everything. I just kind of yelled, "What are you doing? I thought you were putting the propane tank together." And then go up to the first floor, and he was up there putting the propane tank together. So
that's kind of eerie.
Yeah,
How long ago did that happen?
a few weeks ago. Yeah. So it just.
That was in March, actually.
Yeah. I was going to say, it didn't even connect with me because stuff just usually doesn't happen to me.
That's paranormal.
Yeah. Yeah, it was.
So
It was really odd.
Don, Kelly, for everybody trying to get this thing in their mind's eye, and Becky and I are really interested in the haunted, be them intelligent, the shadowy figure. Kind of take us into the school, if you will. Tell us about your hot spots. What room you're getting the most? Like when Becky and I were there, I was taking a bunch of pictures of Becky, and I want to call it the boiler room, but it just because it's Freddy Krueger. My mind plays school. How
And plus it's creepy down there.
Yeah, it's creepy. So take us into the school if you guys can, and tell us the different locations and the activity that we could find if we're there on a ghost hunt. I mean, I walked through the front doors and there's you and Kelly. Hi guys. You walked us in. I think the first place you took me was into an auditorium, which looked creepy, and I didn't want to go any further.
Right.
I don't really like ghosts all that much. I told Becky I'll wait for you outside. She said, no, you're taking pictures. You follow us. So take us into the school.
Well, when you first enter the school, the first thing you're going to see is the gymnasium. That was built in 1958. Back when there was a common space for the arts inside the school, some of the claims were that people would hear piano music emanating from the gym.
Do you still hear that music to this day?
Not lately. We actually just opened up the gym because before, when we were investigating, the gym was all locked up. So now we just recently got access to the gym when we got control of the school. So actually what we did was recently someone donated some pianos to the school, and we put those pianos into the gym, and we're hoping that will stir up some type of activity, and maybe people will hear some disembodied piano music.
That's kind of cool. That's cool. Maybe we can bring that back. Take us deeper into the school, and make sure you stop at the boiler room, if you will. And there was another classroom that Becky had mentioned to me. Oh, you guys had an experience, but there's someone. I want you to say it. But I want to hear about the boiler room, and I want to hear about this one particular classroom.
So as you exit the gym to go into the bowels of the school,
I like that.
So it's a big open four-way when you first enter the gym. There's classrooms inside. You've got the old cafeteria and the kitchen as well. If you hang a left, you'll go into the janitor's closet or the janitor's office. This is one of our most active spots. During one of our earliest investigations, that janitor's door had slammed shut. Well, that janitor's door is a big.
I remember that's a big heavy steel door.
It's got a big weight on it.
I remember that.
So,
I don't want to interrupt, but no, did the janitor pass away in there? The legendary? I don't know.
Allegedly, either the janitor passed away in the school, or he had a heart attack and passed away elsewhere. We haven't been able to verify what happened or who the person was at this point.
So the door slammed?
Door slammed.
I think that's a place we also got our first EVP there, the one that we played during
in
our
the basement.
What kind of an EVP can we ask? Aggressive in nature?
No. It's kind of funny. It's one of these ones where we play for an audience when we do a presentation or whatever. We always try to get people to try to guess what it is. We've always thought it said July 15th. A lot of people think it says 10 years and stuff like that, but it's just a real subtle. They were asking what year it was and that kind of stuff.
The bottom line, it was a disembodied voice. Somebody was in the school besides you guys talking.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Well, here's the thing, it was actual EVP, not a disembodied voice per se. You couldn't hear it until after you played back the audio.
Right.
Awesome.
And here's the other thing, it seemed like kind of a time suck. Before she asked the question, the answer came. So she was asking you questions, then you hear what we thought was a date, then she asked, how long have you been here?
Wow.
So that kind of brings into question, if spirits exist, is their element of time different than time as we know it?
We've encountered things of that as well, where there's a shift of time. So this is the boiler room that you're talking about?
That was in the basement
Just
outside
in
the boiler.
Yeah, that
Just
area right
outside?
outside the boiler.
Okay, curious deeper into the
Now,
school.
as you go further into the janitor's room, you'll see the big boiler. It's like a big Freddy Krueger type of
I remember that.
right?
I was spooked. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. I was a little bit spooked.
Our running joke when we go through the school is that the janitor would get mad and throw little kids into the boiler. It's that kind of a boiler, that big of a boiler.
It looked like something out of Freddy Krueger, to be quite honest with you.
The boiler was built in the 70s. It was installed in the 1970s. Now, in that room, during one of our first investigations with another team in 2017, I believe Chris Boris and a few other people were there as well. Myself and two other people were in the basement. I was just sitting in and observing. One of the male investigators went to ask a question, and it sounded like the female investigator who was there would also start to ask a question at the same time, inadvertently. And then what happened was the male investigator said, "Hey, did you start to ask a question too?" And she said, "No, it wasn't me." And you could hear the voice as plain as day. I thought it was her as well, but she swears up and down it was not her.
Class A EVP.
It sounded like a female voice.
Wow. What did the voice say? Can I ask?
It said what?
What? It's like questioning you guys.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
The interesting thing is, now we can't verify this either. We heard that there was a female janitor at the school. Now,
That's possible.
We're not saying that this voice we heard was from the female janitor or that it was. The female janitor may very well still be alive. We don't know.
Yeah.
But we just know we heard a female voice.
Well, somebody was there.
Yeah.
I mean, no matter what, somebody was there.
Right.
So, are those the only haunted locations in the
Oh, no,
building?
we have other locations.
Tell us.
Yeah.
I got to hear it all. I've been waiting all day for you to get here. Tell me the story.
So the first floor thus far hasn't had a lot of activity. Of course, we haven't done a lot of investigating that part just yet.
Mm-hmm.
But we have had a little bit of red pod activity on the first floor.
Red pot.
Yeah. Actually, speaking of REM pods, in the basement stairwell, we also have a lot of REM pod and K2 activity. During one of our public investigations, and I think Joe and Jennifer from 222 Paranormal Podcast were actually.
And Joe and Jen were there.
We had a REM pod in the stairway that was going off like crazy.
So there were some fluctuations in the EMFs, or, in lack of a better term, energy swirling around.
And there's no electricity in the
There's
building.
no electricity in the building, which really makes it kind of cool.
Right.
Yeah. Now we're not saying it's paranormal.
Was when Joe and Jen were down there? Was it acting up on cue, or just kind of all over the place? Or?
Yes and no. In some ways, it was off and on cue, and at other times it was not.
Can I tell you? I got to before we go any further with the REM pod. You know, it's obviously very sensitive to temperature drops or rises or drops in temperature.
But that's a different kind of alarm, and
Right.
you have to turn that on.
Right.
So.
But more
And I don't
importantly,
think ours has that on it.
right, more importantly, it picks up fluctuations in EMFs or energy. I've noticed in some of the investigations, people say the REM pod's all over the place, and so they discard that. But I have found, working with the REM pods over a period of time, and obviously I'm still a student of the REM pod. That's okay for it to do that. I think the REM pod is one of those pieces of equipment where our unseen guests, are quite interested in it, and it doesn't matter what our line of questioning is. It doesn't really correspond with the question. They're just playing with the REM pod. They're interested in it, and they're almost, especially in a school like you are. If it's a child, he really doesn't care what us adults are talking about. He just wants to play with the REM pod, and that could explain sometimes why it's going haywire. The bottom line is, guys, it's still responding, which means there's something manipulating it.
Right.
I find it interesting. So sometimes with REM pod, I don't think everybody says, "Well, I want it to go off when I tell it to go off." Well, that's not always the way it works. But sometimes, like you said, we were in a place in Sylvania one time up on the second floor, and you were doing EVPs, and then you would take breaks, and the whole time while Becky was doing EVP, the REM pod is in the other room just screaming, and we're all saying to ourselves, "Well, it's not really answering our questions." And then we thought about it, well, wait a minute, it's still going off. There's a reason for that. So I believe that could be very well possible. Joe and Jen could be documenting paranormal activity. So keep going. I didn't mean to interrupt, but I want to explain my experiences with the REM pod.
Right. So anyway, the first floor we haven't concentrated on very much as of yet. But if you head on up to the second floor,
mark that down, Becky. We're going to work that first floor real hard. Okay. Go ahead.
Second floor is one of our more active floors. Room 11, which was used as a dance studio during the Common Arts era in school. I think Kelly will tell you more about her experience near the dance room back in the day when we first investigated.
Yeah, I'm not sure when this was, probably 2011, 2012. It was me and two other women. So talking about that before, I don't know if that's a different energy. But as you go into the second floor, you take a left, you kind of go up a little bit of a ramp. Mm-hmm. And then there's 3 rooms that are all connected, but there's light, right, front, left. And they're all connected with a door in between, but they were locked at the time because this is when it was a common space and people didn't want all their stuff touched. But there are 3 of us kind of sitting out in the hallway, And I've kind of got a theory anymore. It seems like paranormal activity, when people call you in at their homes, it just happens when you're just sitting there.
Mhm.
Nobody's really saying, hey, is there anybody here?
Right.
So one of the things we do is just kind of sit there and chit-chat
Yeah.
between us, and we're there. And so there were 3 of us sitting there, and we were just kind of chit-chatting about different things. And then we kind of thought we heard like a tap behind the room 11 door. Then there was kind of a tap behind the other door, and it just kind of started escalating to where all of a sudden it sounded like somebody, because there's hardwood floors up there, very creaky hardwood floors, somebody just ran across the floor in room 11. And I remember at the time I was, if you hear this is on our webpage, and you hear me, I kind of was radioing Don to see if the heater had kicked on, to see if that might have been what was doing it. And it hadn't kicked on, the boiler hadn't kicked on. So it just was one of those odd things that all of us up there heard.
Poltergeisty or just somebody trying to get your attention?
I think maybe more like that than anything else. I have never felt anything negative at the school or anything frightening. So I just think it was, I kind of think there is some residual energy there.
That's what I was just thinking when I was going to say.
Because not only was it a school, but I think all of Bowling Green is where the Black Swamp used to be.
Sure, a big part of that is.
Yeah, and the Black Swamp was an area where lots of people perished. It was very swampy. Even the Native Americans wouldn't really go near the Black Swamp. So I kind of think that there might even be some residual energy from that, from the land, not just the school. So that particular instance, I don't know, but it was just really odd. There was nobody there but us, and those rooms were locked.
Right.
So we
Does the
don't know.
paranormal activity pick up in any given time of the day? Like, is morning more active than the afternoon? I mean, you're working in the building around the clock. Is it more active in the morning versus the evening, or?
Thus far, it's been more active in the evening, although I will say I did have one experience in the morning around 8 or 9 o'clock where I saw out of the corner of my eye what I thought was a shadow. It could possibly have been a bird, but my experience was at like 8 or 9 in the morning.
Huh.
And it startled me enough to where I had to go outside and regroup before I came back in.
Wow. So now
And that was coming up from the basement again. So
that's kind of cool. Well, I don't know how cool it is, but kind of scary. So you got room 11 upstairs. Does it stop there? Is there other locations as well?
Well, before I continue on, I want a quick note about room 11. Recently, during our investigations, it seems like anything that happens in room 11 happens when you're not directly in the room. It's like whatever's in there that's intelligent is shy in a way.
It's like, hey, here I am.
it's like if you sit on the hallway, you can hear things in the room. But if you go in the room,
Well, that's kind of important that investigators would know that.
just
So what's
something
going
we've
on when you're
experienced.
not just like things moving, or?
Sounds like taps, knocks, maybe something moving across the floor.
Huh.
some of our stuff will go off. The mass detector has gone off in there before. we went.
So take us to the rest of the second floor. You said there's a lot of activity up there. So, I mean, obviously we're gonna make a note of room 11, obviously, and then of course we're gonna leave room 11 and leave our recorders running. So I'm trying to get you for as much information as I can before we get in there. So what else is going on up there?
Well, here's the other thing. During one of our last public investigations, I don't know if Clay was there at the time or not. She might have stepped out to take a break. We were on the first floor in one of the rooms, and all of a sudden there was a loud bang. It almost sounded like a piece of plywood fell from the ceiling and hit the floor.
Wow.
That echoed throughout the entire building. It startled everyone. I looked all around the building. There was nothing to account for it. Nothing had fallen anywhere.
Nothing was out of place, nothing?
No.
So that had to be somewhat residual. I mean,
Maybe not. Maybe somebody was irked or didn't like the way somebody was handling themselves. Or it's just like these people are not having enough fun, and let's give them a little something.
Don's
Take home with them.
Don's working too hard. Kelly's working too hard. Let's just give them a little something, take a break, and go try to track this down. But you never found the source of it?
No, never.
I was going to say in one of our recent investigations too, talking about room 11 again. Some of the people were outside looking around the playground area, and they thought they saw a figure up in the window.
The figure.
A face
Can
in
you
the
describe
window.
the figure? This-
No, I didn't see it. They saw it from outside.
Yeah,
and they just said there was a face in the window, and that was coming off of that room 11.
And with the shadow person, I'm a stickler for details. Tall, short, child, adult.
When I saw it,
Yeah.
right here, it was Don's build. Like I just kind of saw the head and the shoulders, and I thought it was about that height and everything, and that's why I thought
Does
it
that
was
fit the
Don.
description of maybe one of the janitors from the school?
I probably not the one that we've heard about
Or
a
one of
lot.
the teachers even,
but-
maybe?
I don't know. I mean,
The
Yeah.
shadow figure that you've encountered, male, female, any idea?
You know, I saw it out of the corner of my eye. It went by so fast, it's hard to say.
Height?
Hard to say. I was sitting on the stairs and it was above me. So it's hard.
That's very hard to judge.
Yeah,
So room 11 is definitely haunted.
yeah.
Where are you going to take us from there? Where do we go next?
attic.
Attic, yeah.
Take me
The attic.
to
Which
the
is
attic.
really
take me
neat.
to the
Is it
dreaded
cool up
attic.
Oh
there?
my gosh, I loved it up there.
What's going on up in the attic?
Thus far in the attic, we've had what, K2 hits that we've heard of?
It seems like I don't think we've experienced a whole lot up there. What's really cool about the attic in a non-paranormal way is back when it was open as a school, it was a K through 6 building, and the 6th grade teachers would take their students up there at the end of their 6th grade year and let them write their names on the
I
walls.
said that when we
So
were in there.
there's all kinds of names and everything in the walls of past students. And when we had an open house, one woman even came in and found like her friend's name on the wall. So in a non-paranormal way, that's just kind of cool.
Yeah.
You know, but what really makes that kind of neat, it could get to the paranormal. You know, all these kids in the school and leaving the school to go on, to junior high or other places, by writing their names, on the walls of the school, we did an opera house where all the actresses and the dancers and the famous people wrote their names on the walls in the years they did that. To me, that heightens some of the paranormal
Yeah.
because you basically left a part of you there, that energy source, so to speak. So I always think that that's cool when we're investigating. You can look back at time like, Joe was here in
Yeah.
1947.
Yeah.
It's so cool. And
Mhm.
Becky's a history buff. She loves places like that, even if they're not haunted.
Yeah.
For
You
those
know,
reasons.
that makes it so much fun for everybody to like us. We investigate homes and stuff, and we do a lot of that. That's kind of like more important work and things you have to be more careful of. You can't just go in and explore this really cool old historic building and ghost hunt, and without like all that responsibility.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's just a lot of fun. I think it would be a lot of fun for just the general public and for seasoned investigators.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's just nice to go someplace that is a historical, big, interesting building
And we've
check it out.
tried to bring some of that in with different pictures and things that we found over the years in the 6th grade room. The woman that was a 6th grade teacher there for like 30 years
Oh,
left a big file at the Jerome Library at the Bowling Green State University, and we got to go in there and copy it. So there's 6
That brings everything to life.
pictures of
doesn't it?
6th grade classrooms in that 6th grade room right there.
That is
So
really
her
cool.
and all her students from 6
Aw.
years. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
So what other activities is going on? Listen, if anybody wants to ask Don and Kelly a question.
oh, here, I'm not even
Type
looking
in.
at the thing.
So,
Shelly Smothers said she
Oh.
had been there before,
Mhm.
and she thought there was intelligent activity there.
sorry, we weren't really watching. So Becky's just
She
taking
got,
the
she left a recorder in room 11, went in another room, got all kinds of noise.
Oh.
Awesome.
It made her jump about 10 feet, and she's got that on EVP.
Wow, you're gonna have to share that
Yeah,
with
so
Don
No
and
show,
Kelly.
it says head, shoulders, knees and toes. Okay.
Hey, thanks for
What was that,
watching.
Joe?
If anybody's got any questions about this haunted Main Street School down on Bowling Green, chime in. So let's wrap things up in the end. So you got that kind of activity. What else could be going on in there? Is anybody doing the ghost hunts or anything? You've captured anything else in the attic? I mean, not that it's not enough hauntings because you got plenty.
I feel like we've had people that have sensed figures up there and things like that. Not really any hard evidence of anything, but people, I don't know, people seem to
So-
like it.
If we look at the haunted Main Street School in Bowling Green, and the general public that's would like to maybe sometime to do a ghost hunt there or visit, the building is safe, structurally wise, obviously, because you do a great job at that. Describe our entities that are in the building. Would they be residual? You said intelligent, but kind. Is everybody nice?
Yeah.
I mean, imagine it's an elementary school. I know besides Mrs. Belknap, the 3rd grade teacher, who can be cranky some days. There's nothing nasty or negative in there, right?
No,
And
not
so
at all.
No.
everything's, we can feel safe while we're investigating.
Absolutely.
Well, so the building's haunted, so fire some questions as I've been experimenting a lot, and I know some people say, Harold, you're much too old. Why are you doing it now? But over the course of the last few months, I've taken a keen interest in the equipment that we're using. And I had told you about Jeff Schlachter's here running the camera tonight. and Jeff had followed us down to Granville, Ohio, to the haunted Buxton Inn, and we had run an experiment with the Spirit SP7 Spirit box where Becky was wearing headphones, and I thought it was so cool that Becky was repeating words that I was saying during my EVP session. Becky couldn't hear anything I was saying, and I thought that was really cool. I'm working with the REM pod now, which sometimes doesn't make any sense, but I had heard something really cool that you and Kelly are doing about. And tell us about that, because I think it's cool, and I'm going to do that. You know what a copycat you.
Right.
I even told you that. This is one of the first.
Then I got a couple questions. For
Yeah,
you guys.
but listen to this. Listen to this thing that Don and Kelly are doing, and let's follow in case somebody's got a question for. Tell us what you're doing. It's an EVP. You tell us what's going on.
Challenge.
All right, so basically, since we have access to the school on a regular basis, we thought, let's try to get an EVP that has some type of a substance to it, so to speak. So what we did is I went into the school by myself when Kelly wasn't there. I talked to any entity that might be present.
Mm-hmm.
I gave them a secret word or phrase, and I repeat that to them every time I go into the building by myself. So,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and
You do realize you're talking to people that aren't there, right?
right.
Okay. Just wanted to know that.
Right. So anyway, I wrote that down on a piece of paper to document it. It's sealed away in a safe location right now. And basically what happens, anytime that someone comes into the school to investigate, we want them to just try to get anything that might be there to speak the word or the phrase.
So the first thing I would want to do when I go into the school is,
Yeah.
the first thing I want to do with my EVP session in room 11, maybe, or no, not room 11, outside of room 11,
Anywhere.
I'm going to go right to the boiler room. And I'm going to say with my recorder, listen, if anybody's here that can hear me, would you please tell me the word that Don has spoken and written down and sealed it in an envelope?
Word or phrase.
Word or phrase.
Right.
So you're not going to share that with us,
No,
right?
no, no.
Well, do you know if it's a word or a phrase?
Could be either one. I'm not going to say.
He's not giving it away at
No,
all.
he's making it
So,
tough.
so,
Right.
so you said the word. What was Kelly's role in this? How do we know that this isn't some type of a money maker to draw people in?
So
You got Kelly.
I said the same thing. I said the same
So
thing.
we have controls in place. I'm the only one who knows the word. I have it written down. It's stored in a safe location. And from this point forward, I do not judge what any EVP says. It
Mhm.
comes from the school. Anything that the investigators from the school capture on film or on audio goes straight to Kelly. She tries to decide what she thinks it says. When she makes up her mind, if I think maybe it's a match, I'll say, hey, Kelly, I want you to, or even if I don't agree with what
Sure.
it says, we'll bring in an independent party. They'll say what they think it says.
This is so cool.
And then once Kelly and this other party, if they think they're in agreement, we'll bring it in. If I agree, hey, I think you guys are right, we'll bring in another third party, an independent person, to tape us on film to witness what we do when we open the envelope. They'll verify what was in the envelope.
Kelly knows what's in the envelope too, right?
No, I don't.
Oh, so Kelly doesn't
I
know.
don't know.
That's really
I'm the only
cool.
one who knows.
That's awesome.
Okay. And so anyway,
And I didn't trust him with it till he signed the envelope and it's all sealed and he signed it, so there can't be any cheating. When his,
you know
when
I'm
his
gonna
friends
do
come
this.
in, you're like, oh, yeah.
Did you put a wax seal on the back?
Well, no, but
it might be hard to kind of explain right now and just tell you, but we have it on video. It's on live on our Facebook page right now if you want to go and take a look at it. I know Harold shared it on his Facebook page as well. It's also up on the hauntedSouthMainSchool.wordpress.com website as well.
That's cool. So once you think that this may be the phrase or the word you had
Right.
said, well, what happens there? I almost feel like I'm in Willy Wonka. I got the gold wrapper. I got the gold wrapper. So what happens there?
We bring in a third-party witness to witness us opening the envelope. That'll be done live it'll be filmed live
Right.
on camera, opening the envelope. That person will verify what the envelope says, and they'll compare that against what when they translate what they think it is, they're
Sure.
going to write that down as well.
Awesome. Gotcha.
They'll make sure, see if it matches in their opinion. If it does, what happens then is the team or person who came up with that match when they did their EVP session, we're going to invite them back to the school for a second complimentary investigation to see what else they can get.
I think that's cool. Good luck to everybody does it.
It's a fun experiment.
yeah.
You know,
I'm still-
we've got a couple viewers on here thinking, Shelley thinking that's a great idea.
It's
Joe saying it makes it very scientific, but I got a couple
Yeah.
questions real quick. Then, Shelley wants to know, do you remember the person that kept saying hello on yours and her walkie? When you were investigating?
Yes, I do remember that actually. We kept hearing somebody saying
Explain.
hello. We were in,
Oh, a third party, I think.
yes, we were, I believe, in the first floor, if I'm not mistaken, near
Mhm.
HQ. And I believe we were in what was used as a child care room back in the common arts space. And we kept hearing somebody say hello over the walkie-talkies. Thought, that's weird. Who just keeps saying hello?
Why would anybody cause that kind of contamination? They wouldn't.
Right,
And I think
right.
maybe we tried to answer him back, say, hello, who is this? But we got no answer.
Shelley, did you have a recorder running at that time where you could maybe have documented that? I think that's kind of that's kind of cool. What was your other
She
question?
said she was in room 11. Joe Shortridge says, for Don, what was the biggest challenge you've had to overcome?
Well, the biggest challenge we have right now is still ongoing, and that's getting electricity, plumbing, and also fixing that freaking gymnasium roof that leaks every time it rains.
Oh, God.
The gym is really,
Yeah,
it's in bad
that's
shape.
our top challenge this summer. And the fall is to take care of
Do you think it's worth? I mean, we all feel awkward if we're reaching out to the public, but I mean, how can you get help with something like that? I mean, I don't want to call it maybe sponsors or I mean, what can you do? I mean, obviously you're going to need some help at some time or another from the general public or from the city or something in the coming year or so. What do you foresee? I mean, how do you make these things happen? I mean, you just can't pull $10,000 out of your pocket to put a roof on. I mean, how does that come about?
I think to start with, we just do patchwork and do it as cheap as possible. Maybe get the community involved as far as just giving opinions. If there's roofers out there who knows anything about roofing, just come by, take a look, tell us what you think. Or if you're an electrical contractor,
Wouldn't
just maybe.
We also have to see what the owner thinks.
Right.
Because we don't own the building. It's owned by somebody.
Wouldn't it be cool if you had a paranormal enthusiast that was also like a roofer and said, "Hey, listen, I have some cold
That'd be sweet.
packs sitting around, and maybe this or that, or some,
Yeah,
some."
No, we don't expect free work out of anybody. Maybe just a consult or give your opinion on what you think.
Sure, I think that's a fair statement.
we threw a bunch of tarps up there last fall, and yeah, it did.
I will tell you the other thing we're looking for, if anybody out there has these type of things and they're listening, we would love to have either a loan or a donation of items related to the school, ephemera or memorabilia.
Oh, that would be cool.
Photos,
Some
whatever. We're always
classroom.
looking for that.
Oh, sure.
I'm sure there are a
We've
lot
been
of old
contacted
pictures
by a
out
few
there.
people that
Yeah.
went to the school.
Sure,
and
you can
everything.
take people, if nothing else, the pictures they can scan. They don't
Right.
have to give you the originals.
Right.
But does anybody else have another? Thanks, Joe. That was a great question. I think the world of Joe.
Well, I have been neglecting the question.
Okay, so
board
what
here,
else do we got?
And I can't go back up
Okay.
because they're coming in live. So
If
everybody that asked a question, and I wasn't paying attention, I apologize.
So
Please ask again, unless you just got me at the line.
you said you had another couple questions for Donna.
No, I asked them.
No, you said
Oh,
personally.
me? Oh, personal questions? No, I think we talked about everything
Okay.
that I wanted to ask other than,
We're gonna carry on for a couple more minutes. So
Well, yeah, we wanted to know, you guys are we done talking about the school?
no,
You guys are-
I'm not done talking about
Okay.
school. I'm never done talking about home. You know that. I mean, you're cutting me short. This is just like our investigation. It's 5 a.m. We gotta go. I don't want to go. So you got Fringe Paranormal. You have the Haunted Main Street School, as if you don't have enough things to do. For people out here tonight, and if I was, I'm interested in the ghost hunt. And obviously, on my upcoming ghost hunting 101 class, I was hoping that you guys will work with me and getting our students on there for a field trip. Can you share with us maybe some of the prices, some open dates, and how do we get a hold of you? If I'm out there and I want to go on a ghost hunt, who do I reach out to? So I guess I'm looking for some contact information from you. How do we go about getting a hold of you guys?
So first of all, we do public and private ghost hunts.
Mhm.
We don't have any public scheduled just yet. I foresee one or two doing this during this coming year. Private ghost hunts throughout the year. Private ghost hunts, we go for $350, a flat fee of $350 per team. We recommend 10 to 12 people per team, although you can bring in any size team you want. If you go to our Facebook page, Haunted South Main School, you can book right from the page. You'll just click the book now button. It'll take you to our scheduling page where you can look at our calendar, see what dates are available. For now, we're just doing Saturday nights with a few select Fridays thrown in. But as things grow, we might possibly increase the number of nights we do. But for right now, Saturdays.
That's really cool. So you're easy to get a hold of. They just go to Fringe Paranormal, the Haunted Main Street School, and they'll see you guys and what you're doing. So
I think you message us on Facebook. Also.
are you? I heard that you're going out on the road a little bit, maybe to talk about the school and bring it more into the public's eye.
Yeah.
I think at the old St. Joseph, the psychic, and tell us where you're going to be.
On April 21st and 22nd, Saturday and Sunday, we will be at the St. Joseph's. At the old St. Joseph's Paranormal and Psychic Fair, I believe. And
St. Joseph's Hospital.
Where's that?
I have a hard time getting all
where
those
is that?
words.
Where's
it's in
Lorraine.
Ohio.
It's in Lorraine, Ohio.
Yeah.
And obviously they can just Facebook that and they can get them there to buy their tickets to get there.
Well, actually, the good thing is it's free admission. All they ask is you bring in a non-perishable canned good to get in.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
So
super.
it's free admission. So that's
That's really kind of cool.
Yeah.
You know, and that's one of the biggest psychic and paranormal fairs around.
It's huge.
I think our friends Joe and Jen from 223
Yeah.
Paranormal are going there. You know, you go to all these paranormal conventions, you can always see Joe and Jen there. They're at everything. You know, I think the world of Joe and Jen, and they're always busy. So not only can they go, are you going to bring your team members up, or?
I think right now it's just going to be us.
We might have one or two members stop up to visit.
Well, are you going to ask her? Do I? Becky wants to know how many females you have in your group. It's important to her.
Yeah.
No, it's not. We already talked about
No, I'm just talking. No, but how many?
Here I am, like adding them up.
Well, how many members? No, your question was how many members are in your group?
Well, our members kind of vary. We've got some that can do stuff all the time.
Yeah,
and people
kind
that
of
we've
do
had
too.
for years and years and years that can only show up to one a year.
Right.
And we don't care. We love
Yeah.
to have them come with us. So I don't know. I think we probably have like 10 or 11.
Is there anybody you want to give a shout out to? Anybody?
All of them.
All of them?
We probably have more females on the team
Oh,
than
yeah,
males
yeah.
right now, and most of them are teachers.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Really?
I'm a teacher and there's 3 other teachers
Wow.
on the group, which is nice with the school because we
Right.
kind of know how that
Right.
works.
Becky says there's just too damn many males in our group.
I didn't.
I'm just joking. So,
Well, they kind of are.
see, now you changed your
Well,
mind.
you know, it is nice meeting all these other groups.
Mhm.
You know, in the last few years, and we have often talked about paranormal unity and building a paranormal community. And you used to be, you just heard about, you know, on the grapevine, other groups doing whatever, you know what I mean? But you never really got to know them or meet them. And you were going to talk about the another paranormal convention coming to Toledo. Collingwood Arts is doing their third year. But, you know, that was the first thing that started bringing everybody together in one building where we actually got to meet and speak and, you know, share stories and
I think for you,
but you know, all of
the
these
Collingwood
these
Arts
things
Center
coming
was
to, and then
where
we
you
had
started
Paracon, and then we had one at the Yacht Club, and we're just meeting new groups all the time, you know, and it makes it a lot more fun, you know what I mean? And a lot, if there's something you can't, an investigation you don't have time or you can't, you know, it's too far or whatever, you can call. There are so many people now you can call. Can you guys take this? You know what I mean? What are you guys doing lately? And talk like you guys about the equipment and the experiments. It's just, it's great. I like it.
It is kind of, that's the beauty of this whole thing. Follow us along as I'm going to start to close this out. If there's anybody who wants to say anything to Don and Kelly, I want to thank both of you guys for coming on Ghost Talk. I know you're busier than hell, and for you to take this time to come up to sit with us to talk about the school is, thank you very much, and thank you, Kelly, for coming.
Mm-hmm.
I want to, before we go off, Becky's going to follow the computer. I want to thank everybody for watching us tonight. And I want to talk about, there's a lot of great things going on in the paranormal community, and not just Don and Kelly and Fringe Paranormal going to the old St. Joseph's Psychic and Paranormal Fair and running the Haunted Main Street School down there. There's a lot of other things going on. If you guys are interested, right here in Northwest Ohio, I think Chad and Heather from Erie Shores is probably still recuperating from their paranormal convention, which was a great time, and it was one of the better conventions that I've seen in a while. So I think they're going to kind of go quiet this week and probably get some rest before they are up and running again. I wanted to give a shout out to Jason from Lake Erie Paranormal. the Collingwood's Art Center. Ghost Hunt is coming up May 26th. And they're also going to be involved in the third annual, as Becky was saying, the third annual Paranormal Toledo, the convention. And the prices are right. I told Jason I wanted to give a shout out to this. You can get your tickets for $7 pre-sale. $50 is all for the VIP pack, and that's the big, I call it the big salami. They're going to have guys from Ghost Hunters International there, The Walking Dead, and we know there is a huge cult following of The Walking Dead. There's so many Walking Dead fans out there, and I think I think they do this with Tower Paranormal. So that's a really cool stuff that he's doing. So, and their last Ghost Hunt I think sold out, and that we're hoping. I imagine that the Ghost Hunts are sold out. This is sold out. We can't take anymore. But I hope you can get to that spot. Maybe you don't, because it might be a lot of responsibility. But there you go. There, I want to give a shout out to Arizona Tramp from Black Swamp Radio, blackswamp.radio.net. You can follow him. He had a show last week, and we were talking about the Maxwell haunting, which was a pretty terrifying.
And I listened to it. It was a great show.
Tramp always is. I told Tramp afterwards, and it's kind of a joke. You have the face for radio, Tramp. It's just a joke. He has a great voice. So I want to give Tramp a shout out. Thanks for having me on your show this week. Other things going on. Joe and Jen's going to be up there at the festival with you guys, right, doing a podcast. For anybody that doesn't know who Joe and Jen are from 222 Paranormal, get on their Facebook page. They do a podcast every Sunday at 2:22 p.m. And this week, Chad Heather may want to give us a listen. They interviewed a bunch of people during the Parafest, so they're going to play back a lot of the interviews. And I want to get on there and give that a listen as well. Mostly I want to hear one of the girls from Hops Paranormal did an interview. I want to see what she had to say. I want to give a shout out to Al Luna from Glass City. Is going to do the second annual Glass City Paracon coming up October 14th at the Toledo Club. The Toledo Club is always kind of cool and unique to me. My grandfather retired from his regular job. He spent his last couple of years helping out the Toledo Club. And I remember going in there as a young boy. I thought that building was haunted from the time I was this tall. It's such a cool building. And I want to thank Jeff for coming out to film tonight. I don't know if I don't want to say a whole lot because Jeff really hasn't given me permission to say a whole lot. But Jeff works with Outcast Paranormal. It's a new paranormal group, and I want to welcome them into the community and wish them the best of luck in what they're doing. Jeff is doing some camera work for them, but more importantly, Jeff is an ex-student of mine from Ghost Hunting 101, and he's been following me around a little bit. We've been spending some time together. He's doing some documentaries and some commercials. And more importantly, I just was talking to you out in the garage. We'd like to come down and maybe film a little bit of a commercial for our Ghost Hunting 101 class. Maybe we can come down and interview you and Kelly and introduce us to the school, introduce us to some of the hauntings, and then maybe we can interview 4 or 5 students that's graduated from the Ghost Hunting 101 class. So I think that's really cool in the make. So, and so kudos to everybody out there. The paranormal community is very busy. Back before we go, I think this is really cool that what you guys got going. You and Michelle put together a Ghost Hunting with the Pros. When is that in? And I think this afternoon you just told me we were going to take 16 investigators, and I think we only have a couple of spots filled.
Yeah, Ghost Hunting with the Pros is May 19th, downtown Toledo location, it's a haunted location. From 7 p.m. to 1 a.m. The way to contact us for that is through email, togsteam@gmail.com, TOGHSTEAM, togsteam@gmail.com, and the subject line, put Ghost Hunt and give us your name, phone number, address, whatever.
Now, if I'm a new investigator, or if I'm just interested in going on an investigation for the first time, do I need equipment? What do I need to show up? I mean, what
That's a good question, Harold.
My point is, I think.
Listen, we're going to have the equipment there. If you want to bring your own recorder, a small digital recorder, if you have one, bring it. Bring a small flashlight if you have one. If you want to bring a camera, bring that. We're going to have just a brief, I don't want to say class get together, but we're going to have a brief talk about safety and EVPs and go over some of the equipment and, safety, respect, et cetera, before the ghost hunt. And it's going to be a lot of fun. We have never done one of these and just not had a really good time. You don't have to bring any special skills. You just have to bring an interest.
Good. And
I'll bring the cookies.
Yeah, right. We're gonna have some snacks, and that's important. So if I want to take my mother on her first investigation, we're gonna show up on location around 7. I'm going to be going into a classroom where you and Michelle are going to go. First and foremost, I want the investigation to go safely. I want everybody to be protected. And my mother's never done an EVP session before. So, but I think you and Michelle are going to go over those things.
Oh, sure.
How to protect
we're
ourselves,
going to do some guidelines.
investigate safely.
Right.
So that's cool. So go study with the pros. There's 2 or 3 spots left open.
Yeah, and it's not rocket science. Everybody will be.
It's gonna be a blast. You promise there'll be a lot of snacks there. I'll be there for the snacks. The girls aren't gonna let me get too involved in this. I think Butch and I and Uncle Jeff will probably go.
Yeah, we're not gonna let you.
Yeah.
We're gonna be like, get in here.
And they're gonna go over it. So that's coming up Saturday, May 19th. What I'm really excited about, as long as nothing personal comes up and we have some investigations, we're going to do one of our annual spring trips May 3rd.
Yes.
So follow us on
I'm
Facebook. I'm going down to the Boonville Tunnel again. I'm hoping that maybe Jeff can come down for a day. We're going to be down there for 3 or 4 days. I'm just hoping that we can bribe Jeff into coming down maybe with his son or his wife or something for a day.
I would like to recapture the guy stepping out of the wall in the tunnel.
Yeah.
I just want that to happen again.
We're going to do the
when I'm there watching the video.
We're going to do the haunted Boonville Tunnel. We're going to stop by the Haydenville Tunnel, which we've investigated on numerous occasions. And then I want to stop by the Ghost of Gloucester, the old cabin in the Appalachian foothills of the Appalachian Mountains at Ghost of Gloucester, which is going to be in the upcoming book when it comes out. So the road trip is what I'm doing. And last
we're just going to have some fun.
Yeah, we're going to have a lot of fun.
Take some pictures, maybe do some videos.
Well, the only one will probably work if we get Jeff down there. It'd be the same thing as we did in Granville. Jeff will do all the work, and we'll go down and drink Irish car bombs at the end of the night.
Yeah.
And just keep filming, Jeff. You're not allowed to drink. You just keep right on filming. So, as we wrap up the show, listen. You can see I'm starting to post again on Ghost Hunting 101 at Owens Community College. If you're interested, this session here's the way it's going to play out. Class is starting, I think, May 31st. You can get a hold of Owens Community College at owensworks.com, or you can go to their phone number 567-661-7357. We're going to have a series of 4 classes to go over some basic Ghost Hunting 101s, types of hauntings, some of the basic equipment that's used, some safety protocol. Becky will come in and talk about what it's like to take on a case. But more importantly, if this all works out on June 21st, the class Ghost Hunting 101 is going to come down to you and Kelly's building, the Haunted Main Street School. What do you think about that? If me showing up with hopefully 15 or 16 students, listen, they're all brand new. They've only got 3 or 4 classes under their belt.
They're always so enthusiastic.
Yeah, they're
having so much fun with those classes.
What do you think is going to happen when we show up? And not only do I not know what I'm doing, but it's like I'm trying to lead them into the promised land and live with them.
Oh yeah.
It's these field trips are such a riot. So I think
we've also captured some good.
Yeah, we did some pretty good. So what do you think of that? Not only are you doing ghost hunts, private and public, and all these things, you're going to be part of maybe, hopefully, a class field trip. What do you guys think of that?
I think it's awesome. Hopefully they're going to have some good experiences. This field, you can never predict what's going to happen. You might have some type of totally new activity occur that night. You never know.
Just sounds like a lot of fun to me.
Bringing students, so to speak, into a school.
Yeah.
Into a haunted school.
Perfect.
Right? Maybe there's some mojo there. So
yeah, I think it'll be fun.
Well, we're gonna get off of the air here in a minute. What else do you guys want to talk about?
I want to mention the lecture in Holland Springfield Historical Society.
When's that?
May 24th. Now, it's for the Historical Society, but there is a Holland, Ohio paranormal group.
Oh, Hops, yeah, Hops. Hi, Hops, if you're watching the show.
If you're watching, maybe you would like to come in and join us when we do that presentation.
Yeah, May 24th. It's going to be in the park, but I can't remember the name of the building, but it's going to be for the Holland Springfield Historical Society. Mm-hmm. Hops, if you're watching or you hear of this, Becky and I and Butch and Michelle would like you there that night. That way we
if
can
you're interested.
It's so cool when as we travel, like we were in Ada, Ohio a couple of weeks ago, these presentations, it seems like we're doing more and more of them, and I do enjoy it. But I like going into Pemberville or Ada, a couple of hours away, and you can get a local paranormal group to show up for your lecture where we get to introduce them. You think we're popular, but when they're sitting there like this, or they're watching me talk, and they're getting bored, and I say, well, right here's Fringe Paranormal, right from Bowling Green. They'll go, oh, I've been sitting by you the entire time. Can I have your autograph? It really brings,
yeah, because Spats was at our...
Spats was in the front row, and I couldn't wait to introduce them. And it's like the whole town, everybody in Ada, because it's right outside the lighthouse. So I'm breaking down the equipment, right? And we usually have questions and answers afterwards, and we usually get fired at by a bunch of people, right? So I'm picking up the equipment, Becky's doing what she's doing, and everybody was centered around them.
Right.
And they want to talk, so where do you live? Oh, you're right down the street. My house is haunted. Like when the show was over, it's like, Harold's done. Nobody cared about me. So, all right, take us out of here. What else you want to share with the fans tonight? Anything about the haunted school? What do you want to say? Is there anything else?
Well, you just spoke about Spats. They're going to be coming into the school actually at the end of April for an investigation.
Good.
So we're interested to meet them and see
they're
what
great
they come up with.
people. They're great people. I know the family They're I think the world of them. The girls from Spats lived down the street from me. At the point I was very good friends with their father, Jim. God rest his soul. But the girls, I think, when they were younger, first and foremost, I think their house was haunted as well. I hated their attic. I was very uncomfortable up there. But I think they thought it was really cool that I was a ghost hunter. And this is years and years and years ago. And it's kind of cool that they grew up and now they're ghost hunters. I just think that's so cool. And I support them in any way I can. I wish them the best of luck. So have fun. And hey, if you got a spot for an old man and his cameraman to come in and do some filming, invite me along, and whatever the ticket or price or whatever I can do to help you, I will. But I would love to come down and see you kids and the rest of your group. I met some of your group members a couple weeks ago. Very nice people. I'd love to come down and visit you guys, see what you guys are up to. So, all right, so we'll see you at the next Ghost Hunter, the next thing. And if I want to see you, I have to go to Lorain, Ohio next weekend. Yes. If you want to learn anything more. So you're going to keep posting things on your Facebook?
Yeah, we'd like to do some more public hunts too, so keep checking this out. Maine, we're just waiting for it to get warm because right now our building doesn't have any electricity and it's still really cold. So we're just waiting for some warm weather to do some public hunts. Yeah.
I mean, on a night like this, on a night like this, it's cold and it's weary and it's spooky, and what a great night. Maybe we should all just run down to the school for an hour or two and run some BVP sessions. Perfect. The air is high at night. So, anyways, thanks for joining us today on Ghost Talk. Hopefully next week we're going to be back with Ian for the second part of the Maxwell story. This is if Ian's ready. It'll happen when Ian is ready. But Ian thinks it's very important that this story is told. Him and Molly's experience within that house, and I know at times it was terrifying, and we've come a long way. Like I said, Ian thinks it's important to talk about this. Let that case be known for others that are going through these things. Sometimes the paranormal is not as pleasant as everybody thinks it is. There's also can be a dark side to all of it. So anyways, thanks for joining us on Ghost Talk again. We'll see you hopefully next week. You want to sign us off?
Yep. Everybody have a good night. Happy hauntings. Bye.
There you go.